So in this video, I want to talk to you guys about painkillers. Prescription medication is a huge problem, the abuse of it in particular, and I'm going to share with you guys my own experience. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I was getting ready for work one day, and typical routine, nothing abnormal. I was brushing my teeth at the time, and I felt something pull in my lower back. I was bent over the sink, and I just collapsed. I fell on the bathroom floor and I was unable to move. I was paralyzed. My body was frozen, and it was I was terrified. It was unbelievable fear that I've never felt before when I couldn't move. I was trying to move my feet, my arms, anything. Nothing could move. And I laid there for like 15 minutes screaming out before somebody came up and helped me. I didn't go to the hospital at that time. I was able to just wait it out. And as a result of that one incident, though, I had severe back problems that I still deal with to this day. Basically, I went to all the local best doctors around. I tried physical therapy. I tried all different types of rehab. I tried injections. I tried experimental type therapies, everything I can do, sports therapy, and I spent a small fortune, trying to resolve this issue. And it was to the point where I couldn't even function anymore. The pain was just unbelievable. And to describe it a little bit for you, when I was standing, I wasn't able to bend my left leg in particular forward at all. I could not bend it forward. The range of motion was nothing. It was like 3 inches. As soon as I reached that threshold, I felt like pulling and like an electric pain shoot down my leg, all the way down to my foot, and it was just excruciating. So standing for a long time, sitting for a long time, basically anything, walking for a long time would make it worse. And the only thing that made me feel better or just alleviated some of the pain was to just lay down flat. And so I was just laying down all the time. I was trying to go to work as this was happening, and I got to the point where I really couldn't function. I reached out to a doctor, and he wrote me a prescription for, I think the first one was Roxicet. Yeah, so Oxys is what they are, generic. And I started taking those, and I began to rely on them because they were so effective. And I started off with 15 milligrams, went up to 30 milligrams, and my pain was so bad at that time that I worked my way up with tolerance, and just because of how severe the pain was, to 10 pills a day, 10 30 milligram pills a day. And that was the most that I reached. And I realized that though I was functioning in life, though these pills were allowing me to continue to do what I had to do in life, there was no option for me to stop. I have two businesses, I have a family, I have a lot of responsibilities. So for me, that's not even an option to have that kind of downtime and just rest and recover. Basically, the doctors were all telling me that I needed to have back surgery and that the condition I had would never ever fix on its own, and that if I did not have the surgery, there would be a good possibility that I'd be paralyzed. And I decided not to take the surgery. It's a long story, but I didn't feel that that was the truth, and I believe different than what they do. I have since shown on MRIs that what they said was impossible to be relieved of is actually gone. It's no longer even detectable, so they don't know what they're talking about in all cases. So back to the part of the pills. I'm taking 10 pills a day. I realized that this is crazy. My tolerance is just going to keep building and building and building as I take these things, and as time passes. So I decided to stop one day. When I decided to stop, I had no clue or experience with opiates in the past. So I had no idea of what was about to come. And what came was just unbelievable misery and pain and withdrawal. So I started withdrawing so hard I couldn't sleep. And because I'd been taking them for so long, a couple of years had passed, it got to the point where, when I stopped, I didn't sleep for over 3 weeks straight. 3 weeks I was awake. I could not sleep. And every minute of that 3 weeks I was suffering. And I was shaking, and I was freezing, and then I was burning, and I had terrible headaches, terrible pains, along with my back pain that still remained. So I was all fucked up, but much worse because of the withdrawals. And so that was the first time I realized, man, these fucking pills are very, very, very dangerous. And at that time, I think in the third day of stopping them, I reached out to the doctor and I told him, man, I'm fucked up. I'm about to die here. I feel like I'm dying. I'm depressed and this shit is fucking me up in every way. He said, you got to get back on them right away. Go back on because you can die by stopping cold turkey from that amount. And so again, I disagreed with him and I continued and just suffered. Unbelievable. But during that suffering and that experience, I also realized for the first time in my life, I was able to understand and relate a little bit to the extremes that some people go to with their problems in drug abuse, and specifically this. Painkillers are a form of heroin. That's it. So it's important that people understand. It doesn't sound as reasonable when you call it heroin, but it really is heroin, and that's what I was addicted to. My body was addicted to that substance chemically. And I don't consider myself by any means the average man. And what I mean by that is my ability to take pain and to endure and to suffer is very, very, very high. And I'm telling you that took everything I had in me to get through that time of withdrawal. It was a fucking nightmare, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And so I was finally able to understand why people can't get off these drugs. They can't get off because the pain is fucking just very, very great and very severe. And so it's not only the physical pain that you go through, you feel like you're dying, and this little fucking pill or shot, whatever people take, that's it. In one shot, you feel better. So it's not only the physical, but it's the psychological. You become dependent on them. My mood was dependent on them. I felt so much better the second I took a pill. And so I just wanted to share this with you guys so you have an understanding of, the dangers that come with taking these medications. Doctors typically don't speak of them in this regard. They're not going to, categorize it the same as heroin. For one, because it's prescribed by doctors, it's a lot more acceptable. But in reality, it is heroin. So please, guys, be very, very careful. So many people in all age groups, in all communities, this drug does not discriminate. It's just one form or another, but it comes down to the opiate. And I encourage you guys to please, please be very, very careful. If you are taking them, understand that you should not ever plan on taking these forever if you're in severe pain. You got to come up with some other plan here. You got to get off these things. It's a terrible thing to be dependent on them. You're going to end up, always concerned for the pill and for having enough and how you're going to get them and how you're going to pay for them. It's going to cost you a ton of money. It can really, really ruin your life. And for those of you that are taking them recreationally or just to get high, please, please be careful. Take my story and think about getting off. Thanks.